All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real stuff and doing it in real time for just a bunch of, well, a few people, just like you and just like me. Not a bunch, not a Brady bunch, much smaller, but thanks for being here. If you want to support this channel, by the way, Patreon, buy me a coffee. There'll be links in the description where you can support either those two ways. Also, PJ Rock Super Chats, which you have to go on YouTube for that, and also YouTube memberships, other ways to support the Harmless Dave channel. Now, this article, which comes to us courtesy of ABC Audio, I'm not sure what that is. It's just audio from ABC News. And it goes out to all the classic rock website pages, all in unison. So if you go to your favorite classic rock radio station website, which I don't know why you would, unless they're, I guess, giving stuff away, or, you know, maybe they're sponsoring a concert or telling you about something that they're doing in the local community, because we can't get enough of those public service announcements via, you know, commercial spots. So we need to make sure that when you go to the website, you get to read the same thing. So Kevin Cronin, who could be all done, and you would think that would be a news story today, but I haven't seen it anywhere, other than Mitch LaFon, who I guess broke the story officially. REO Speedwagon's Kevin Cronin is feeling nostalgic about Live Aid, celebrating its 40th anniversary in July. Now, yes, that was history. I was back in college radio at that time, and we all went to the music director's house out on Cape Cod, and we sat around and watched all of this unfold for hours at a time. We were that into it. But Cronin isn't celebrating really the music part of it. He's celebrating what an incredible, monumental, and unifying day it was. A global effort from Philadelphia and London to fight famine in Africa through music. Did it work? 40 years later, has famine been wiped out in Africa? No, it hasn't. And you know what, folks? I'm sorry. A lot of this do-gooder stuff is just for your resume. It's great publicity, makes everyone feel good about themselves. It's weird because the same people who are probably all into fighting famine in Africa, at least on paper, not in reality, but hey, you know, we're going to throw a couple $1,000,000 at it, and by the time it gets to the people, those who have sifted through that money have taken a whole bunch for themselves, and by the time the food gets to the people, there's very little, all right? And those people don't know. Remember? They didn't know it was going to be Christmas. Remember all that stuff? They had no idea, and that was true. They had no idea what Americans or Brits or people across the globe, as he says here, a global effort, were doing on their behalf. All they know is they don't have very much. And governments around the world continue to cheerlead war. Everyone wants to bomb Iran right now. How many billions is that going to cost? And he goes on here to say, and what does that have to do with this? It does. It's all connected. To honor that powerful legacy, the Kevin Cronin Band, which is probably over after September 1st, is proud to say that we will be donating a portion of the proceeds from our show closest to the anniversary. So how much money are they making? The show will be on July 12th at the Jiffy Lube Live in Virginia. Nothing says a great concert arena like naming your concert arena Jiffy Lube. I feel like I need an oil change as soon as I get there, all right? I just drove 2 hours. I probably need an oil change. He says, wouldn't it be amazing if many of the other Live Aid performers would join in and consider a similar gesture? Every little bit helps. as the need is still there. After 40 years, the need is still there. And why is that? Because we have twisted priorities around the world. That's why. We could solve this issue. Governments could solve it. People could say, hey, you know what? Instead of bombing countries, how about we feed them instead? Just a thought, right? So he tagged a bunch of people here. Eric Clapton, who is probably the most anti-war, Bob Dylan, Simple Minds, Neil Young, Bryan Adams, and Carlos Santana. Live Aid, of course, was organized by Bob Geldof and Midge Ure. People forgot about Midge from the band Ultravox. The concert itself took place July 13th, 1985 at London's Wembley Stadium and Philly's John F. Kennedy Stadium. The benefit concerts, which raised more than $150 million for Ethiopian famine relief, were watched by about 2 billion people in more than 100 countries. So it raised, I know, in 1985 dollars, $150 million. It's probably worth like $1 trillion now. I don't know. It's probably worth at least a couple of billion, right? But that's what we spend in a week bombing a country. So I know I'm extrapolating, I'm changing the subject, but, you know, if we could do a little peacemaking, you know, why can't we give peace a chance, right? By the way, Cronin and his band, are currently on tour with Styx. The next date will be Kansas City on July 2nd. So you got to go out there and support the Kevin Cronin band before it's all done. No report from this same website about what was said yesterday regarding the Kevin Cronin band. But this is a good way to switch the subject. I'm sure Kevin, who seems to spend a lot of time on Facebook, has been monitoring the situation over there, or someone has brought it to his attention that his band is probably done after September 1st. So anyway, Live Aid, it was epic. A lot of us watched it. A lot of us thought it was amazing. I think the greatest part of Live Aid was when Phil Collins went from Philly to London, or London to Philly. I can't remember which order that happened, but he got on the Concorde and he showed up, and it was pretty cool how that happened. And then the Led Zeppelin reunion, which again, they were a little rusty when they took the stage, but I was happy to see them. You know, if you were a music fan, you were pretty delighted to see Led Zeppelin again performing, but it was short-lived. Anyway, great memories from Live Aid. Didn't think too much about the food crisis in Ethiopia, and 40 years have gone by, and we're still not feeding those people, and we probably should have by now. And there are ways to do it, but it's not through this, I don't know, make-believe generosity. It's you have to influence people around the world to change what they do, what they fund, what they prioritize, and then maybe at some point you can put a little dent in it. But you also have to teach people how to fish at some point, and we're not doing that either. You need to bring the third world up to maybe the second world, and people wouldn't be starving to death. That's just a thought. It could be untrue what I'm saying, and I could not know what I'm talking about, as many people like to tell me. So anyway, thanks for watching. God bless everyone, especially those people in Africa and those people who are probably going to get bombed soon, because that's really what our policy is. It's bomb and then rebuild, bomb again, and then rebuild again. That's what we do. And we spend billions bombing, and then we spend billions on rebuilding. I'm sure we could take a little portion of that bombing money and send it to Ethiopia and just solve this in a couple of days.